There's a question there from Jennifer. Hi, I haven't applied for this course. Is it too late to do so? I'm going to hand over to Sonia.
No, definitely not. At the moment, we are doing enrollment. So all you need to do is come to college with your GCSE results as well as your ID, and we'll have an interview, a chat, and hopefully, if everything goes well, enroll you at the same time. So it's definitely not too late.
So actually, that's a really good way to start. Sonia, would you like to introduce yourself first?
Okay, so my name is Sanja Mihailovic. I'm the course leader for the new games design, animation and visual effects NextGen course that we're going to discuss about today. My background is in filmmaking and audiovisual production. That's what my master's is in, and I've been teaching since 2012. Yeah, I'm very excited to start this new journey with NextGen and Barnes College. And I think it's a very good diploma that they've put together, and it's going to be a really rewarding experience for the student. Yeah, for now, let's leave it at that. But at the end of the seminar, we can have a chat and you can ask me more questions at the Q&A.
Thank you very much. So I'm Marcia. I'm a co-founder of NextGen Skills Academy. My background is I have worked in the games industry for about 20 years now. I have worked on lots of games you would have heard of. So Tomb Raider, Hitman, Lego Star Wars, which is still my all-time favorite game, and many more games that sunk without a trace, because that's what the games industry is like. I'm going to spend a little bit of time now with Sam, just kind of telling you a little bit about the NextGen course, what makes it so unique, the kind of things you're going to learn, and why we're actually here, and why we're working with Barnet College to make sure that you get the skills that you need to come into the games, animation, VFX industry. Sam.
Hi, I'm Sam. I work at NextGen. I'm the operations manager, and a lot of what I do involves finding industry people to come and talk to students about exciting things that they're up to. So we try and get industry people involved in the projects we do and the masterclasses we do. So yeah, if someone, if a tutor asks us, hey, can we get a session on storyboarding with someone who works on cool films, we go and find a person to do that. So that's that's part of it.
And you will see us, both Sam and I, in industry over the next 2 years as we work through this program. So shall we just crack on, Sam, with the presentation? Sorry, it's a PowerPoint, I'm afraid. It's a PowerPoint, but I'll try to make it as interesting as possible for you. Just flick through the slides.
Okie dokie.
Okay, so what is NextGen? Why are we here? What are we doing? So NextGen was set up 7 years ago with some of the biggest, brightest names in the games, animation and VFX industry. You can see some of those there, but for those who are interested in games, Sony, Ubisoft, Creative Assembly, Sumo, Mediatonic, they're all part of the group that work with NextGen on a regular basis and help supply industry people to come in and talk to you. From VFX, we have Framestore, Double Negative and ILM. So they're the people who make Star Wars, Paddington, Guardians of the Galaxy, which is my favourite, 1 and 2. And the reason they all got together was that within the games, animation and VFX industry, we have a lot of really technical, creative roles, but we don't have either enough people with the right skills or people with the right skills to progress through the industry, which means that although we are highly successful, and for example, games made £7 billion last year in the UK alone, we are at risk of stunting our growth, restricting what we can do unless we have the right people. We have a lot of graduates coming out of university, but they don't have the kind of fundamental skills that employers are looking for. So they sat down, they looked at all the qualifications available, and then decided to write their own. So the qualification that they wrote, the qualification is the qualifications that you are going to be studying over the next 2 years. It takes you through all of the steps, all of the pipeline, from coming up with an idea to making a product. And the reason that it's games, animation and VFX and not just games is that those skills are predominantly the same. If you have the skills to make a game, you have the skills to make a piece of VFX and animation. And what we want is to make sure that you have transferable knowledge and skills. That this course gives you the opportunity, not just in games, animation and VFX, but gives you the right skills for the visualization industry as a whole.
And we're seeing more of that even now, like the industry is merging together, especially with Unreal, virtual production. People who used to make games for a living can now make movies for a living, because the Mandalorians all working using Unreal, which started off being a games engine. So they had pretty good foresight to stick the three industries together.
Absolutely. And the other key thing that we want, it's really important, and we work with different programs, not just the level 3, is that we want to diversify the workforce. And that's what the industries have come together to do. Not just because they're nice people, they are predominantly nice people, but because a more diverse workforce, people from all over the country, from all backgrounds, it means we make better product, which means we have better content, we make more revenue, and there are more jobs. So that's why they will be coming in to talk to you, and to just show you what the working practices are in our industry. Okay, so what do we do? Why? So NextGen, we're working with all of the different employers. We also work with 15 colleges in England. That's all. We just work with 15 colleges. Barnet is one of the colleges that we're working for, and actually this is the very first year that we've worked with Barnet. And what that means is that Barnet College has recognised the value of bringing industry in. They've also been approved by an industry group, actually I think was Sumo Digital and Framestore, have come and spoken to the tutors and seen the college, only virtually at this point, but we will be back this term in real life with legs and everything, and that you will be part of a very select group of young people who are getting industry delivered content on a course that they have written. And we talk about the product pipeline a lot, and that is being able to recognize all the different parts that go in to make a game or a piece of VFX. So if you want to be an artist, that's brilliant, you will be able to develop your art skills here, but we will also make sure your tutors will make sure that you have an idea of where that fits within the whole pipeline, because creating creative content, you're going to be working as part of a team. So programmers need to know how the art works, how art's developed in order to fit into a game or a piece of VFX properly, and vice versa.
Sorry. And the other way around, but you said vice versa as well.
Yeah, it's really important, isn't it, Sonia, that because it's a team effort.
No, absolutely. And the more aware each of the different groups of employees working on a project are about, the challenges and, the framework of the other, the more successful the project will be. So it's a really good syllabus. The course is structured in such a way that you've got the drawing covered, you've got the audiovisual with editing and After Effects and visual effects, you've got programming, maths, logic and coding even, so you'll get absolutely, as Marcia said, the fundamentals of all around skills that are necessary to get the projects done in each of these industries. So yeah, it is quite crucial that you are aware of all of that before you sort of specialize in whatever you decide to specialize in.
Absolutely, that's a really key point. Build broad fundamental building block skills, and then you can go on and specialize. And as it says, it gives you a head start in skills and progression onto the next stage, because you know what you are learning or what the key employers have said you need to know. So that's always.
And during your drawing, it's not just going to be like shooting in the dark, but you will know exactly, like by knowing what you can do and what you can't do in After Effects, or although there's not much you can't do, but anyways, by knowing what the limitations are, and whether it's, you know, in terms of visual effects or programming or coding or whatever it may be, obviously, the more able you will be to create something that is going to, at the end of the day, you know, be a better finished product.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you're good. It's really good fun as well. Some of the work that we see, and we'll drop a link in the chat for you to go and have a look at what some of our graduates of 2020 and 2021 have done, and you'll be able to see the projects that they work on, which we're going to talk about in a bit. I think we can do next slide, Sam. I'll pretend I'm Boris Johnson. Right, so what other kind of things are we going to be doing? We will, but you will be having masterclasses from industry. So whether that is going to be in person or online. So we will be having industry coming in, and we're planning all of these now, coming in to do projects and live tasks with you. We will have a remote work experience, which means you will be working to a brief, getting feedback and making presentations live to employers later on in this first year. So I think, when's that running, Sam?
Well, we're in the process of planning everything, so we're just saying term 1 for the moment.
Okay, so we will come back to you with that. There are lots of resources that industry have supplied for you, so you'll be working on with real industry assets, and you will be getting to meet and start to network. There's a Freshers Week which Sam is organising with a career panel, so we're getting you straight in there, straight off the bat. We're going to be having you talking to industry professionals and the ability to show them your work.
It's a really good starter briefs with fun yet challenging sort of tasks to sort of get on with straight away. Yeah,
there's a really cool Christmas competition as well. The presentation, the slides there shows you a little bit of the work that we did with a company called Forward Futures. This was part of the work experience. We had 7 NextGen colleges working simultaneously on industry briefs. They had to create assets for a remote exhibition, online exhibition around what it's like to be the first colonists of Mars, and we had NASA scientists taking part and giving feedback on that. Maths and logic is an area that I know some people might struggle with, so we have produced with a brilliant programmer who you will see, Byron Atkinson Jones. Is one of the star programmers at Sony and PlayStation 5. He's actually written a graphic novel which explains the key concepts of maths and logic for the games industry. And below you see lots of lovely people who have been on panels. Now that panel was called Critique Week, where second years from NextGen are able to show their work to industry professionals and get feedback. So it's all about getting things ready for your portfolio. Industry want to see what you've made. It's all about what you make, and part of what you'll be doing over the next 2 years is building a really strong portfolio. okay, this is really important and I'm really keen on this. So this is potentially your first step in a career, and a lot of people may question why you want to work in the creative industries. It's insecure, it's not a proper job. Well, actually, we are growing 3 times faster than any other type of industry. It's global. I have had the great fortune working in the games industry for so long. I've worked for Sony PlayStation in Sydney, Australia, which was amazing. I've been able to travel to Los Angeles and San Francisco to work at trade shows. It's a global industry, and the skills that you learn will give you the opportunity, if you want to work most places across the globe. There's a huge games industry in the US, massive VFX and animation industry too. These are skills that not just about our industries, but these are transferable skills that will take you into many different types of roles. Visualization is the key. That is the key role. So that's the ability to tell a story. Augmented reality, virtual reality, again, across entertainment, across medicine, across engineering, across the space industry. These are key skills. 1 in 11 jobs are now in the creative industries. The games industry is a key revenue generator, and actually the average wage in games is 10,000 above the national average. So I think it's always really useful to have an idea of what it is you're going to do and where you're going to go.
Got a question in the chat from Chris. Is work experience a part of the course?
Yes, so we do remote work experience, and Sonia.
Yeah, we last year, although it was a different diploma, towards the end of the year, we always have work experience really. And last year I organized, and this was pre-NextGen, so this year is going to be much more heavy sort of industry-based work experience as well. But I've organized a work experience with Furious Avocado, which are sort of another example of a good sort of startup for and how things can work out for the better in this industry. It's a small sort of startup between friends that have made their first game. It's a super casual sector. So it's a mobile phone game, a super casual game. So it just sort of, it's called tie-dye. It's sort of painting, obviously, different shirts, etc. Some of you might know the game because it has had over 10 million downloads between Android and iPhone. And basically we've, Furious Avocado asked our students to create an animated logo for them. And they've chosen a winner and a runner-up as well. And we had, obviously, we had them giving feedback and also announcing the winner for the students. So it was pretty good. But yeah, work experience is a big part of it. Is you will be working to a live brief, but also all the briefs will be sort of made as if they're live, in a sense of they will be practical and linked to a scenario that's a real life scenario. So as if you're already working for an employer in the industry. Excellent. Does that answer your question? Who asked the question? I can't even see now.
I think it's got into answered. Chris. I think Chris asked the question. So I think that segues neatly into what our employers are looking for. So we work really closely with all of our employers, and we meet up every 3 months to talk about the course, to talk about the support, but also to talk about what employers' needs are. And this is something we'll come back to over the next 2 years, but it's really clear from this, what they're looking for is people who are able to work in a team, who can communicate, who can demonstrate what they've made, and these are all key parts of what you're going to be doing over the next 2 years. And Kick-Ass Portfolio actually was #1. That this was a survey that we did across games animation and VFX. So you'll be in a really good place by the end of the 2 years.
Can I just mention, Marcia, from my perspective, because I've delivered different, the previous diploma was UAL, we've had BTEC previously, we've had OCR, we've had, you know, there is others as well. But this is definitely a step up, and it's definitely very much different in a sense that it really goes into sort of exploring all these different sets of skills that we've discussed, unlike the other ones that are more sort of creative production based, and definitely don't dwell enough on sort of the maths and logic and programming and even 3D sort of modeling skills, and all of that is covered within this new NextGen diploma.
Thank you. Yeah, and the employers, this is what the employers want to see, so they put it all down, but we want to make sure as well that you know, people understand the industry and they've got the option to ask the questions, and they meet really exciting, as you said, really interesting people, so you can go, what's it really like? Because we want to show you what it's really like. You're right at the start, but I threw this slide in just so you can have a little think about where you're going to go. And at the moment, 67% of NextGen students, they go on to HE, they go to university and they study game design, or they study animation, they study VFX. They tend to specialise after this. And Teesside University, who are a really good uni for creative arts, have said that the NextGen students are streets ahead of students who are coming in from different routes, just because they've already got the foundation knowledge. Apprenticeships are an area that's really growing. I love apprenticeships. They're an opportunity to earn while you're learning, and it can give you a really accelerated career path. So that's something to think about. We work with employers on 2 VFX apprenticeships in production and art. There are 2 brand new level 4 apprenticeships coming through in animation, and there's a digital community manager for the games industry. So nothing for you to worry about now, but something to bear in mind. Careers, right, this is a lot of information, and this is something that we will come back to over the year. But one of the things that people don't realise is that within games animation and VFX, you don't have to be like the best creative person in the world. Certainly not my bag. I'm much better at kind of managing and bringing groups together and managing projects. Within games animation and VFX, there are way more roles than people originally think about. And this is what we want to make sure you have exposure to as you're going through. There are producers are the people who sit in the middle and they manage all of the different departments. They manage the art department and the programmers and the designers, to make sure that a game actually hits all the targets, that it hits its milestones, that it stays true to a project, and most importantly, which is where I've always come in my job, is to make sure that it hits its release deadline. Sonia said there's sound designers, there are audio programmers, there are people who work within the legal departments as well. So the games industry is not just art and coding, it's much more in depth, much more interesting than that. And whatever your skills, if it's less creative but you just love the industry, there's a place in there for you. These careers maps, games industry career map, we'll make sure that you have the links to that just in case you want to have a look. There's a VFX and animation one as well. One of my favorite VFX jobs
We
is
have posters of these around college as well.
it's just amazing. One of my favorite jobs in VFX is a creature artist, and there are people who are paid a lot of money to make the fur and the scales and the feathers that you see in things like Fantastic Beasts or
Foley artist for the sound.
Yeah, it's just there's some beautiful jobs in there that are not something you would initially think of. Storyboard artists for animators, massive skill gap and shortage. So Blue Zoo, one of the biggest animation companies in the country, desperate for storyboard artists. You can earn up to £500 a day if you're good. So lots of roles out there, not just one thing, and this is a way to kind of learn about all of them.
Speaking of VFX creatures, we were doing a work experience thing once in Framestore with some NextGen students. This is pre-COVID, and we were based in the creature department when they were designing the Pokemon for the Detective Pikachu movie. So we just like sitting around and like seeing what everyone's doing on the monitors in the background while they were designing stuff, and we weren't allowed to tell anyone what they were working on. That was fun.
Yeah,
bit more difficult to do stuff like that these days, but you know, we'll get back to it.
We will get back to it, and I think talking to Framestore, that's what they're really keen to get back and do. So hopefully we are now post anything and we can start to look, because you guys are, oh my goodness, you're in the perfect place almost in the whole world to learn about games animation and VFX. You have people like Framestore, ILM, who are Disney basically and make Star Wars and Mandalorian, and they came and did a big chat with all of our students. I think that was the most popular chat we had last year, mostly with the tutors, to be fair. So you're in a perfect position to take advantage of everything that you've got coming over the next 2 years, and we are really looking forward to working with you. So
Can I just add, sorry, Marcia, from our perspective also, obviously at the college, you will have supercomputers equipped with all the software that you need, Adobe Cloud, all available for you, you know, all the software on there, including After Effects, Photoshop, Premiere, Animate, whatever, you know, you might need from there. Also Final Cut, also 3D Max, Maya, you know, everything that you will need to get ahead in the industry. You will get exposed to the software and you'll have the opportunity to work. We also have a TV studio with green screen where we can do some filming, and also there are 2 technicians that are in charge of the equipment. We've got plenty cameras, all sorts of ranges, microphones, lights, whatever sort of equipment you might need for your project, you can get whatever you like. So there is, you know, you're in quite a lucky position. I have to agree with Marcia, because you do have everything at your disposal. If you're serious about really, you know, getting ahead, then, you know, you're in a good time, in a good place to do that.
Don't underestimate how lucky you are to be in London, is for sure something. Like me and Mars didn't grow up in London, and like there's always stuff. Like obviously like COVID's put a pause on things, but there's always stuff going on, like meetups and like networking events, places where you can go and meet professionals. Like it's so much easier being here than it is being somewhere else.
Yeah, it's amazing. We've got good fun stuff coming up for you all. And I've just put a link there to everyone. Hopefully you can see it. You can go and have a look at some of the student work. We've got a question from Raphael. When is the best time to come in and enroll?
Tomorrow, let me just double check. So it's 10 o'clock every day, I believe, but I know some days it was until 4. Let me just give me a moment, sorry. Bear with me. Well, 10 o'clock until 4:30 is a given every day. So today we're Thursday, Friday, 10 till 4:30, and then next week, Monday is obviously a bank holiday, Tuesday to Friday, 10 till 4:30. You can come at the college straight, just with your, make sure you bring your GCSE results and your ID, and we can have a chat there and then, even if you haven't sort of made an application online or whatever, you can just come into the college and we can have a chat, walk you through everything, answer any questions you might have, and obviously enroll you there and then if you qualify for the course. Yeah.
Shall I pop the link to NextGen on your website in the chat as well? Is that an online application thing, or would you rather it's real life?
So the link for enrollment, you mean, or?
Yeah, this one's got an apply now button.
Excellent, thank you. Yeah, so that's the information on the website for the course, but you do not necessarily have to book to come in online. You can just walk in. So it's definitely not too late. You can do that as soon as tomorrow. 10 o'clock, just walk in, Barnet, at the Wood Street, obviously, site. So that's High Barnet, and yeah.
Cool, excellent. We've got a couple more questions. So question one is from Chris: what industry links can NextGen help students with? Okay, so we work with, oh my goodness, we work with so many industry partners, but I will run you through some of them, Chris. So we work with Creative Assembly, who make the Total Rome games, part of Sega. We work with Ubisoft, who make Assassin's Creed. We work with Sony and Media Molecule. There's too many titles there for me to tell you about with Sony, so you obviously know who they are. We work with Playground Games, who make Forza, who are now actually a big Microsoft studio. We work with...
They're making Fable now as well, aren't they?
I know, it's astonishing, isn't it? It's just brilliant. And Mediatonic, who made Fall Guys, who I'm sure you will know. Outside of that, we work with lots and lots of the smaller indies as well. So what we like to do with games is to work with the great big companies as well, but most of the games industry are actually small, medium-sized companies. So we make sure that you know about the indie developer process as well as working with the majors. For VFX, or you're so lucky, if VFX are your bag of making films and being part of that, we work with all of the key VFX companies who are in the main based in London. So Framestore, Double Negative, ILM, The Mill, and in animation we predominantly work with Blue Zoo, who after Aardman are the biggest animation company in the UK, and predominantly work on children's titles. But on top of that, we work a lot with freelancers, because the VFX industry and animation, actually, a lot of it is you do a lot of freelance and consultancy work, so people working on shorter term contracts. So you'll be able to meet brilliant people like Bianca Ayanku, who has worked not only on amazing games with Bittle Studios, but has also worked in animation as well. So she's one of those people that has transferable skills. It's like the list is too long, Jagex, it's just too long to go through, but you'll get the opportunity to meet a real range of people.
Another question is, what qualifications do we need for this course?
Okay, I can answer that, but also I want to go back because I have the timetable for the enrollment here, and tomorrow it is only until 3 in the afternoon, so 10 o'clock in the morning until 3 in the afternoon that the college is open, and then obviously there's bank holiday, but on Tuesday you can come in till 10 till 6:30 in the evening. So That's quite good. Then Wednesday 10 till 4:30. Then on Thursday you can come in 1:30 till 6 p.m. So yeah, either tomorrow 10 a.m. or Tuesday 10 a.m. The earlier you come, obviously the better, because usually it gets busier and busier as the hours go by. But so that's in terms of enrollment and qualifications. So you do need to have 4 GCSEs at 4 or above, including English and maths. So, but also if you've got a level 2, obviously, diploma that is equivalent to that, then we can look into what your background is and sort of transfer that into into the eligibility criteria. So we're going to check whether it's an equivalent to 4 GCSEs at 4 or above. Sorry, 5 GCSEs at 4 or above. So 5 GCSEs at 4 or above, 2 have to be English and maths, 4 or above. Does that answer your question, Jennifer, or did you have something else in? Okay. Yeah. What is your background, Jennifer? Did you? Oh, okay. So that's that. Okay.
Brilliant. So, do we have any last questions before we go? And also, thank you all for coming and listening. That's it's great. It's great to see so many of you.
If you have any additional questions, let me just type in my email address. And if you have sort of specific circumstances or whatever, and you would like to discuss something further, let me just. So that's my email address. Please feel free to contact me direct, and I'll try and answer as soon as possible. So if you've got any questions, that's my email address. Please do email, and yeah, I will respond as soon as I can.
Amazing. Well, if there are no more questions, we will leave you to get back to your evening, playing your favourite game or watching your favourite film, and we really look forward to seeing you in September. Yeah, the start of a brand new year.
Looking forward to enrolling some of you, hopefully most of you, and yeah, seeing you start in September.